Special provision for full value of consideration in certain cases. Section 50C. Applicability. Consideration received on transfer of land or building or both is less than the value adopted or assessed or assessable by stamp valuation authority for payment of stamp duty. Now this section is applicable only when you transfer land or building or both. Now in these cases what happens is that whenever you make a transfer, there is some stamp duty which is to be paid on these transfer. Okay, and in order to pay stamp duty, the stamp duty authorities make a valuation, right? So let's say you were transferring some land for which the stamp duty said the value is 100 lakh. Okay, now what you did was you made a transfer of this land for 80 lakh, right? And when I say transfer, this means this could be a case of sale, okay, or there could be an agreement to sell, or this could be a power of attorney transaction, POA transaction. What this means is that in some cases, instead of executing a sale deed, some people transfer ownership through power of attorney. In either of these three cases, the value which will be considered for the purpose of capital gains will be the stamp duty valuation if it is less than the value which has been adopted by the taxpayer. If he would have adopted a value of 120 lakh, there is absolutely no issue. This 120 lakh is the one on which you pay capital gains tax. But if you adopt a value which is lower than the stamp duty value, then the stamp duty value is considered to be the fair market value of the asset which has been transferred. So basically the applicability is on consideration for transfer of land or building or both, right? The consequences are that the value from stamp authorities shall be deemed to be the full value of consideration, right? So this 100 lakh that I told you will be treated as the consideration if you show it at 80 lakh. Now obviously if I am the assessee, okay, whosoever that person is, he may agree or he may not agree with the valuation adopted by the tax office, right? So there can be three cases. One is he agrees to stamp duty valuation, right? If he agrees to the stamp duty valuation, what will be the consequence? He will pay tax on 100 lakh because that's the value which I told you is the stamp duty value, right? The second thing can be he does not agree, okay, and goes to the court. Now the court decides that instead of 100 lakh, actually the value should be 90 lakh, right? In this case, the sale consideration will be treated as 90 lakh, which is the value determined by the court. The third thing can be this assessee may actually go to the AO and tell him, look, the value of 100 lakh which you have taken is not the fair value, even though I am paying stamp duty on this. And so basically the fair market value is less than the stamp duty value, and I have not disputed whatever you have done in any court or in filed any kind of an appeal against this valuation. Then the AO may refer the matter to a valuation officer. He may tell the valuation officer, can you do this valuation for me? Okay. Now the valuation officer can do two things. He can say, look, the value is 90 lakh, or he can say it is 110 lakh, right? In that case, you compare the value, the stamp duty value, with the value adopted by the valuation officer, the lesser of the two. So let's say if it determines 90, lesser is 90, 90 lakh shall be deemed to be the full value of consideration. Whereas if he takes it at 110 lakh, then 100 lakh will be treated as the fair value of the consideration. So the lower of these two values is considered as the fair value of the consideration. And this is what we have discussed in this part. So what are the recourse to the assessee? He can accept the value so adopted by the AO, which is 100 lakh. he can dispute it with the court, in which case value decided by the court shall be treated as fair value. So if it is 90 lakh will be treated as fair value. And the third option is that the assessee claims that the value above exceeds fair market value. He goes to the tax officer and say, look, the value is more than the fair value, and that I have not disputed such value before any forum or court. The AO may refer the valuation of capital asset to the valuation officer. In such a case, the value determined above by the stamp authorities, which was 100, or the valuer, which could be 90 or 110, whichever is lower. So in this case, 90 is lower. In this case, 100 is lower, shall be treated as the full value of consideration. Right? So this is clear? Okay, let's move on to the next one.